defensively. I thought we did, we executed as well as, we wanted to. They were able to hit some tough shots at times. Wagler was terrific. But I can't say enough about the job our guys did. Player, and he's growing into that. He's got a long ways to go, but it's a heck of a weapon when you have somebody that, much like Illinois has a few of those guys that with size that run around that shoot threes. It's hard to guard.
Great.
Yeah, go ahead. Speak up, yell it.
Second half.
Get your mic, okay?
All right.
Second half, Illinois still shoots the ball well, but defensively, you guys are forcing turnovers at a pretty high rate, and it felt like that really started your offensive spark late in that half. What did you see defensively from your group, and how did that kind of turn into offense at the end?
Yeah, we switched some things. We did some different things with the ball screens based on personnel, and we made another change late in the last 7-8 minutes. I thought that was pretty effective. In terms of keeping the ball in front of us, and our bigs did a good job. And we were able to, even when we got rolled into the post, a small on one of their bigs, I thought we did a good job of fighting the catches. We deflected a couple. We got some backside deflections on lobs. And we just were able to disrupt them and keep them out of rhythm. And then, like I said before, the ability to get them to miss, and then defensive rebound, because I don't know if they're not number one in the country in off. I know they're number one in our league in terms of percentage of misses rebounded, and their ability to finish those misses is exceptionally high. So I know we're maybe going deeper in the weeds analytically than anybody wants to, but they're really good in that. We had to minimize and limit them to one shot.
Great.
Yeah.
This is exactly a month since that Michigan win too.
Mm-hmm.
What's progressed about this team even since that moment?
I think we're getting better, and that's, everybody talks about the lulls of February or the dog days of February. And I don't believe in that. I believe in, obviously you have to be smart with how you use your days and your time and your practice hours and those things, and not wear guys out. You have to be healthy and you have to be fresh, but we've always had the mindset of get better. and continue to improve. I don't care if it's February 9th or January 3rd or anywhere in between. It's just continue to get better. And that always keeps you hungry for more and not bored. Don't get bored with the basics. Don't get bored with the fundamentals. And we can continue to grow those and enhance those and be more consistent with those. And, I thought prior to the Michigan game, we gained some toughness to us that we didn't have in November and December, that we didn't handle deficits well. Deficits became bigger deficits because we didn't mentally fight through it. And now we fight through it. And that's what good teams do. They've developed a really good next play mentality, probably even better than their head coach. Because I get frustrated at times and they're like, Coach, next play, we got it. We're okay. There's a lot of time left. And like I said, there's the maturity of the next play, and the toughness mentality has been the biggest thing I think that's grown. And then players have gotten better individually. Different pieces have given us more than maybe what they did early in the year.
Coach, maybe it was the way Illinois was defending you, and I'm sure the way Austin was shooting it probably played a role. But I think after that timeout where he hit that big three late in regulation to at least give you guys a chance of winning it there, what just made you want to go to him in that moment? And I think John even passed on a little chip shot there to get it to him.
Yeah, I mean it. We knew we needed to score, right? We're going to have to score, and I wanted to have guys that could make some shots on the floor. And when he was doing a good enough job defensively, I didn't think it was a liability. And obviously his offensive ability to create space and knock down shots. And then when Black One Boyd were being able to get penetration, it's a pretty good guy to have roaming around the 3-point line, spotting up. And he moves pretty well without the ball. And our guys did a good job of finding him.
Coach, what did you like about the way the big men adjusted in the second half against Ivisic, and were there any particular changes that you thought they implemented well?
We just talked about halftime. We got close faster, right? And he's 7-1 and he gets it off so quick. There are times when you think you're there and you're not. So we encouraged them at halftime we have another gear on our closeout. We can get there faster. So I thought I thought we were better in terms of, for the most part, more physical on the drives. We only used 3 team fouls the first half. I think we were quite physical enough on drives, and if you can keep the ball out of the paint, it minimizes how much you have to come off of him, and you don't get caught in closeouts as much. So, and then we just kept wearing away and kept chipping away, and we got him to miss one or so. And I don't know what he had in the second half. I know that one shot down in front of me was from 3, but we kept battling.
Greg, it's rare that you get this clear an opportunity at redemption from one overtime game to another. I guess, what do you like about the way your team closed on today?
Yeah, they just, I thought we played pretty well on Saturday. We just didn't finish out some possessions. And obviously the everything that happened in the last 15 seconds, we'll keep this to a G-rated press conference, but we need to learn from that. We needed to learn from that. And when we were in those positions again, because we were going to be in tight games, and their ability to, as I mentioned before, the next play mentality, well, it's next game. Yeah, we were not happy with how we finished that. But as I told them, I found a lot of mistakes on film that we made, and we showed them. So you have to control what you can control. And tonight, I thought our response to that was exceptional in terms of what happened Saturday. Hey, we could have easily let us, and we didn't. We bounced back really well, and that shows the maturity and the toughness that this group is growing.
Coach over here with Nick Boyd coming in, as a transfer, but you show a lot of confidence just in his leadership and his poise. Down the stretch, you waved off the timeout and kind of let him go to work. But what is it about him just taking this team on his back and being that point guard and that floor general in those down the stretch and in overtime, to kind of lead this team?
Yeah, he's a winner, and he's won everywhere he's been, and that's why he wanted to come to Wisconsin, because Coach, I've been to a Final Four and I want to get to another one, and he's as competitive of individual that I've been around in a while. in terms of obviously vocally, he wears his heart on his sleeve. That's obvious. He was trying to get anybody dressed in red to stand up and cheer for us tonight, and he's always like that. That's his personality. That's how he is in practice. He's vocal. He's a hard charger. He's ferociously competitive, and he ultimately he's about winning, and that's what you want with all your players. But when your point guard has that mentality, that no fear mentality, and nothing can be. And sometimes he drove to the basket with no fear, and I'm like, Nick, there's 7-1 standing there. Of course they're going to block it, but that's his mentality. He's going to keep coming back at you. He's not going to flinch and keep coming. And obviously, he was able to make big plays down the stretch tonight. All good? All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, guys, for both of you, Ned, with Andre out and Kylan still sidelined, how much you think fatigue was a factor, down the stretch in regulation and then into overtime?
scout everything, see what we did wrong, and get better at it.
Wait, what was the question again? Oh yeah. I honestly, it's just us not going hard enough to get them. I did a bad job. I didn't have any offensive rebounds tonight. But it's just we didn't go hard enough to try and get them. We didn't want it as much.
Tommy, you got off to a really good start. What do you feel like was working well in the first half, and then what did you maybe see changes from Wisconsin after halftime?
I feel like they let me shoot. Wouldn't say let me shoot, but I had a lot of space to shoot, and in low post they didn't come to double team, and they were switching. They had some situations where they switched, and I just scored there. In second half, they were way more active. Didn't let the pass down easy. Closed out to my shots better, and I think that's it.
Tommy, it's the first time this year you guys lost back-to-back games. What's needed to respond right here? What do you tell the younger guys that have not been through this?
I would say there's no room for negativity now. We still got a lot of games in the season. We're in a good spot. Do I think we should have won this game? Yes. Wisconsin's a great team. We knew what they're capable of. But we can't be affected by this. Indiana's next game, we go to LA. We need to be ready. We'll get some guys back and just get into the mentality like we've been going into games all season and go with mentality to win there. Loss is not an option. And don't go into a game relaxed thinking, oh, we got it. We're up 7 or 8. We can slow down now. We don't have to crash now. We know what we need to do at every moment, and we need to stick to it from first to last minute.
Keaton, their two guards are obviously very, very good. What was the challenge of those two, especially being without Kyle and being without Andre?
They're two dynamic guards. They play similar and different at the same time. And they played really good tonight. They got downhill on us, drew fouls, pushed the pace in transition. And then, they knocked down some big-time shots late in the game. And, it's hard to guard players like that, especially when they have shooting bigs. So it's hard to get switches. And, you don't know if you want to stay, put a big on them, or if you want to try and fight back and then give their big open three. So it's just they're super dynamic and they're really good players. Thank you.
this something? Huh? Okay. Really proud of our guys. Tough one to lose. Little off script for us. 13 turnovers. I think that's the most we've had in league play. And then just a very poor night on the offensive glass. But, very seldom do you shoot 54%, 46 from three and lose. But the turnovers, and again, off script, we threw an inbounds play lob to somebody that we haven't done all year. We never do that. Just kind of got out of sorts and out of character with a few things. Then the reality is we had guys playing different positions defensively, chasing guys off screens. Couldn't be prouder of Ben and Jake and Merck for having to chase guys around and stuff that they don't normally do. But we were down a starting backcourt, and that's life in the Big Ten. I give Wisconsin a ton of credit. I thought Rapp was huge with his pick and pop threes. They do what they do. They're very similar to us. They make 16, we make 15 threes. And, we just, again, didn't make free throws down the stretch, and tough. So.
Coach, could you just elaborate a little bit on the challenges of defending on the perimeter with Kylan and Andre both out? Obviously,
Do you need me to elaborate, or can you read a stat sheet and watch the film?
I'd like to hear your comment too. So,
It's, like I said, we had guys playing out of position and doing things that we don't normally do. I thought we had some good moments, but you look at athletically, you've got your two best athletes. One who's a problem solver of all sorts, and Kylan, and Dre's 6'6", 6'7", and long and athletic, and coming off a game where he has 17 and 8 or whatever he had at Michigan State, and defensively, both of those guys are good rebounders, and so it's just a matter of some guys out of character doing some different things. You're not. One's a senior, one's a junior as well, and they're both physically very strong.
Or can you elaborate on what Andre was dealing with and kind of the timeline for how it became clear he wouldn't be available today?
Yeah, before the game, ankle that he sprained early in the Michigan State game.
Brad, first time you've lost back-to-back games this year, some adversity now. What do you need from your team to respond to it?
Health. I mean, you think we played bad at Michigan State? Played pretty good. We led the whole game. We didn't get one defensive rebound. We played pretty good tonight with 6 dudes. And we're the only team in the country that's played 11 games in 33 days, 10 and 30 in the Power Four. Coming off the Michigan State, this sounds like an excuse. Maybe it is, but we're logging a lot of minutes. We had one ball handler tonight. And, and coming off a very physical Michigan State game, an emotional game, this was going to be a really hard game anyway. And Wisconsin is very talented and obviously won in Ann Arbor as well. So I'm really proud of our guys. I don't have one complaint. We just need health and, changes things.
Along those lines, do you expect Andres to linger, or do you think this is a one-off? Okay.
I have no idea. It's an ankle sprain. I have no idea.
First half seemed like kind of saw maybe all the time he has offensively, and he scored in a bunch of different ways. Just what did you like about that? And then in the second half,
he was special. I mean, it was, they did a better job on him in the second half switching. He got some great looks. He got some post ups. He got some. He was. Did a little bit of everything in the first half. Second half was just a little more challenge. Give them credit, and but again, that opened a lot of things up for Keaton because of their coverages and what they did with him as well. I think we had just under a 1.5 OER. So no problems on that end.
Coach, you have an extended stretch of games, days coming up where you guys will be off. What are you looking to get out of that break outside of getting guys back healthy?
Health, rest, and what we call us days, where you can actually work on you. You realize that we don't work on us. We don't add things. We're very, very vanilla in what we do right now because you've got 2-day preps and, like you said, and in your mandatory day off by NCAA rules. And so it's just been pretty fast. And so it'll be nice to just kind of catch your breath for a minute. It's not a real long break, but things slow down. I think we've got 6 games or 7 games left over the next month. And, heavily front-ended loaded. And now we get to kind of work on some things.
Brad, did you go into tonight thinking it would be 6 in the rotation, or did you think you could steal minutes out of Brandon or Petro at all tonight?
You're trying to win a game. So it's you play the guys that you've gone through the battles and gone through the wars, and it wasn't a knock on them. I just felt like that. I thought we could do some things size-wise, and like I said, I'm probably the most disappointed in the rebounding. But it was kind of an uncharacteristic turnover night for Merck. Where he was so good at Michigan State handling the ball, but again, that's the 19 years old, logging a lot of minutes, and kind of just had a little off night for him.
Tommy mentioned that there's like no room for negativity now, even after a couple losses. How do you feel like this team's set up to maybe handle that side of things?
Yeah, we're really good. We're really good. We went up in the metrics after the Michigan State loss. You're going to find shame in losing to a team in East Lansing and then losing at home to a team when you're 2 starters down. I think that's a lot to build on. And it's like I said, we say this all the time in the locker room and on the court. Don't drink the poison, and the poison's both ways. The poison's all the positive stuff that they hear, and it's all the negative stuff that everybody wants to talk about for whatever reason. And this group's pretty focused, pretty mature, and we've got Indiana coming up next.
Coach, could this be an important thing for your players in terms of experience they've gained and lessons they can learn from these 2 defeats before the last stretch of the season?
Oh, absolutely. You get humbled a little bit, and you find out what you've got to work on. Like I said, I think the most disappointing thing the last 2 has been our rebounding. It's for a team that's so big. I think we were down 9-3 at half on the offensive glass. We haven't done that all year, and we've got all of our size out there. It's something we got to do better.
Coach, it seemed like you went late in the game. It seems like you went to a offense defense kind of sub thing with Tommy and Z. What were you looking for?
Well, Z was so instrumental on the defensive side, and they were hurting us with the pick and pop. Z gets out and covers that pretty well, and then on the offensive side, Tommy had 19, or whatever, and he's in a pretty good spot. So yeah, it was pretty easy.
Brad, what more can you ask for Keaton right now? He feels like he's carrying such a huge load for you offensively.
Nothing. Yeah. Help. He needs help. He needs, they got picked up 94 feet and they denied him. And, not that bothers him, but it's remarkable, quite remarkable what he's been doing. And the load he's done. I didn't realize he had 34. It was it was as quiet at 34 as there was. And he's getting beat on. Their bench stands up and claps, when they commit a hard foul on him in the first half. I looked at the official and I said, they're down clapping. He goes, well, that's not very classy. I said, not really, but Greg's a good friend, but that's what teams are trying to do to him is just be physical. And, we get got to deal with that. Got to deal with that. Every game's officiated very, very differently in this league. And, we just came off an extremely physical, and I couldn't be prouder of him.
Brad, just a little thing, but he had 3 blocks, but the 3 goaltends as well. It's very close. What's the teaching points of that when you guys go
block them all? There's none. Just go block them all. And I mean, he's smart enough that, it's most of those are going his way. The fact that he deters so much, they didn't even try to shoot a lot of 2s. But it's I'm glad they're calling him because at least they can review him and that's part of it, I guess.
So uncharacteristic for you guys on the offensive glass. Is Wisconsin doing anything to limit you there? Or is that
spaces? They space you. We're not rebounding, and again, you lose some of your athleticism not playing. I thought they did a nice job blocking out, but I thought it was more us just, the one thing we've had a little difficulty in dealing with is when we make shots, we assume we're going to make them all the time. So we don't go. And I really felt that was the case in the first half. But it's hard to argue with our efficiency, but I was more bothered by the fact that they had 9 offensive rebounds and our lack of.
You mentioned yesterday that Colin was going to have another, follow up with the doctor this week. Do you know when you'll have an update on him?
Not soon enough. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but I think he goes here tomorrow or what is today? Tomorrow or Thursday, I think. We're putting him through workouts. Fletch said he had his best day on the force plates that he's ever had in his career. So he's in really good shape. He's running every day. Now it's just a matter of, taking the bumps and the bruises that go along with contact on a basketball court. So we'll hope to get some of that stuff done here in the next few days. And if he's cleared, if he's cleared.
Coach, big picture was not turning teams over a ton has not really been a big problem for the defense because you're getting stops and protecting the rim. But is it something you're going to look at now after these last 2 games and
Not
just
really.
4 turnovers today? Or?
No, we had 3 at Michigan State. I thought it was just uncharacteristic for us. We've been really good. You got to give us a little break for just simply not having 2 really good defenders. And we've had some challenges guarding guards since Kylan's been out. And you look at their numbers and we're realistic. So I'm not trying to do anything else. If they turn it over, they turn it over. But it hasn't been a big concern to us. We're 4th in the net and we're 4th in Ken Palm or we're going in. So I'm not worried about turnovers being forced.
You mentioned a few times that you think there's some calls that Keaton's not getting, and you talked about every game being officiated differently. How do you guide Keaton through that?
I have no idea. We sent 12 in the other day from Michigan State. We'll send the missed out of bounds play in the first play of the overtime. That's egregious, right? I mean, it's egregious. We will definitely send in the 10-second call that happens. I mean, it's 5 feet from getting across half court, and there's 10-second call, and we got guys that miss that, and they're making. I mean, it's just I don't know what to do with it. I don't know. I'm done talking to people. I don't get call. I'm done. I'm frustrated as heck. I'm very frustrated. And because it changes so much from game to game. We had a guy tonight we haven't had in 2 years. 2 years. Do a league game in 2 years.